Hi, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be 22 books I want to read in 2022. So I have seen a couple other videos like this, so I do just want to give that credit. After seeing other people do this video, I really wanted to do it too. So yeah, I'm just going to be sharing 22 books that I'm just really excited to read this year that I know I'm going to hopefully get to this year. So these are all books that are on my physical TBR. They're all books that I own that I know I want to read soon. I know there's so many other books that I am really looking forward to reading that I don't own yet. So these aren't necessarily like the ones I'm prioritizing, but they're just ones that are on my shelf that I know I really want to get to at some point this year. So the first 5 books, I'm just going to include them all together, but it's the second half of the Addicted and Calloway Sisters series. So this one is my main priority. I was trying to finish it by the end of 2021, but I only got through the first 5 books and it's 10 books total. And at this point, I'm totally okay with that because I'm getting like really invested and like attached to this series. So I'm getting to a point where I am not ready to like be towards the end of it. Like I don't want it to end. So while this series is a priority for me and I do want to finish it in early 2022, I also don't want to rush through it. I am going to take my time with it. It's very possible that I'll like take breaks in between books, which I wasn't planning to do that. When I initially started this series, I was planning to read them all back to back, but in December I kind of stopped reading the 5th book to read a couple other books, and since doing that I feel like I've come to like appreciate the series a little bit more. Like I'm not like rushing through it and I'm actually like taking my time with it, and I think I'm kind of enjoying it a little bit more when I read it like that. So I think with the last 5 books I'm gonna hopefully take my time with them. I don't know, I feel like it's gonna be one of those things where either like takes so long to read them or I just read them all like within a week or something. But yeah, I am getting to a point where I'm really loving this series, so I do have the next 5 books to read, and those are kind of my first books that I'm planning to get into in January. And like I said, I own all 5 of these books. I just don't want to get them off my shelf because I don't feel like picking up 5 books. So these next books aren't in any order. Like I said, those books I am prioritizing, but the rest I'm just kind of picking them up off my shelf, like in the order that they're in on my shelf. The next book I want to read is Marriage for One, and this one I found out about it last year. I had been wanting to read it for a while and then I finally bought it. It is a marriage of convenience, and that's kind of all I know about it, but it just seems like one of those books that like based on the books I normally read, I feel like I would end up really loving this one. So I'm really excited to read it, and it's one that I know I definitely want to read soon. I just have a really good feeling about it. Like I just feel like I'm gonna really love this book, and I just hope I'm not wrong about that. The next 4 books I want to read is the Dirty Air series by Lauren Asher. So these books are interconnected standalones. They're sports romance. The main characters are all F1 drivers, and so each book just follows like a different couple, and I just always hear really great things about them. I hear really great things about Lauren Asher, and I just need to read these books soon. I bought the first one, which is Throttled, back in the summer, and I was planning to read it then, and then I just never got to it because I wanted to have the rest of the books, and I finally got all 4 of them. So I'm definitely planning to read these soon, and I just can't wait to get to them. So the next book, which is book number 12, is The Fine Print, which is also by Lauren Asher. So all of these books, I feel like I've already talked about them because I did a video recently with a book haul and all these books were featured in that. So I'm trying not to be like too repetitive because I know I've talked about them before. But this book, again, I just hear really great things about it. It's a workplace romance, and I just know I need to read it soon. I just feel like I'm also gonna love this one. And then this book, it is a standalone, but there is a second book coming out. So that comes out later this year. So I am hoping to read this one by the time that one comes out. So hopefully I'll be excited for that second book once it's out. Book number 13 is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this book came out in June of 2021, and I bought it like the week that it came out, and I was so excited to read it. I was like determined to read it that month, and I was just really looking forward to this book. And then I don't know what happened. I just never got a chance to read it. I was planning to read it in the summer, and I just never got to it. And then after summer, I just didn't really have any desire to read it. So I do really want to read this book because I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. She is one of my favorite authors. I have loved every single one of her books, so I just know I'm gonna love this one. Obviously June is like the 1-year anniversary of this book being out, and I would like to read it before that because I don't want to have had it on my shelf for a whole year without reading it. But I don't know when I'll get to it. I'm hoping to get to it very soon because once I read this one, I'll have read all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. But yeah, I just really love her. I love her writing, so I'm really excited to read this one soon. The next book is Slammed by Colleen Hoover. So this book, again, is part of a series. There's 3 books, and I just want to read this one because I'm trying to get through all of her books. And I'm almost done. This is one of the few that I have left to read. I have heard really good things about it, but based on what I know about it, I'm not too sure how I'm gonna feel once I read it. I don't want to give any spoilers because I did kind of have something spoiled for me from this book, and that thing that I know about it is what's kind of been like preventing me from reading it. But I just really want to read all of Colleen Hoover's books. For a while I wasn't planning on reading this one just because it didn't really seem that interesting to me, but then I got to a point where I had read most of her books and decided that I might as well just read them all. But like I said, I have heard pretty good things about it for the most part, so I am looking forward to it. And of course Colleen Hoover always just has really great books. The next book I want to read is To Love Jason Thorne. So I've had this book on my shelf for a while. I was planning to read it I think back in October, but this book does follow a brother's best friend trope, which I really love that trope. But back in October I read another brother's best friend book, so I didn't want to read another book that was like the same trope and kind of the same basic idea. But I've heard amazing things about this book. It's another book that I just feel like I'm really gonna love, and I'm just really excited to read it. And then this one does have a second book that follows it that I have also heard really great things about, so I'm definitely planning to read both of those. But this one just seems so cute. I just know I'm gonna love it. I already love the trope, so I'm really excited to read it. So the next book I'm pretty sure is book number 16, and it's The Simple Wild. So this book is just another one that I hear really great things about. I've seen it compared to like other books that I really liked, so I'm excited to read it. I think what stopped me from reading it for a while was that it's a series, so there's other books that follow it that I don't have yet, and I just wasn't like ready to commit to reading a whole series. But this book just seems really cute. I feel like I'm gonna really like it. I have seen people say that it's made them cry, and I didn't know that it was like a sad book at all, so I feel like now that I know that, I have to like be prepared to read a sad book. But this book basically follows this girl. She's kind of like a city girl, and I believe her dad is like sick, so she goes to Alaska to see him, and I don't know, I think she might not like have a very great relationship with him. But when she gets there, she meets this guy named Jonah, and he's just kind of like a very like grumpy guy, very opposite of her, and obviously they eventually fall for each other. And then I know that there's a couple more books that follow the two of them, I'm pretty sure. But again, this is just another one that when I first heard about it, I wasn't sure how I'd feel about it, but I'm starting to see like more people just really like rave about it and say that they love it, so I just feel like I'm gonna love it too. The next book I want to read is Serenading Heartbreak, and this book, pretty much all I know about it is that it's a love triangle, and I honestly don't see that many people talking about it. I heard about it kind of early in 2021, but I know I want to read it soon because it's just been on my TBR for a really long time. The next book I want to read is Out of Love. It's basically like a love story told in like reverse chronological order, so it starts at the breakup and then it just goes backwards up until the point where I think they met. And I got it recently. It just seemed like an interesting story. I know obviously it doesn't have a happy ending, so I know I have to like prepare to read that, but it just seemed really good and really interesting, and I'm just really excited to read this one. The next book is The Player Next Door, and again, I've seen some people say they don't like this book that much, but then I've seen other people say that they love it, so I'm excited to see how I'll feel about it. I do know that it has a single parent, which I am not really a fan of the single parent trope. I realized that recently, but I know that it is also a second chance romance. The two main characters, I'm pretty sure, dated like in high school or just like at some point in the past, and eventually they like went their separate ways, had their own lives, I guess. And so I know the main character moves back to like the town where they're from or something, and they end up being neighbors, and there's kind of like some like resentment between them because obviously they broke up at one point, and I guess it didn't end on like the best of terms. So the female main character doesn't really like him, but they live next door to each other, and I know that he's a single dad, and that's kind of all I know about it. But it seemed like a cute story, so I am excited to read it. I did buy it recently, so I know I definitely want to read it soon. The next book on my list is Hands Down by Mariana Zapata. So this book follows Zach, and he is a character that appeared in The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. He is like the friend of both of the main characters in that book, and I really loved that book, and I really liked Zach's character, so I feel like I'm gonna really enjoy this one. And I know that it's also Friends to Lovers, so I'm just excited to read it and kind of get more of that character. And something I really like is that Mariana Zapata features characters in her past books, so you can read them all as standalones, but they all take place in the same universe, which I really like. The next book is another Mariana Zapata book, and it's All Roads Lead Here. So this one, I again bought it like months ago, and I have almost read it so many times. I've stopped myself because it's like a pretty thick book, and her books are always like a slow burn. But I've seen so many people say that this is their favorite Mariana Zapata book, so I'm really excited to read it. I feel like I'm gonna love it. I have loved her books so far. I've only read two, but I've really loved them so far, and I just like trust her as an author since I have really enjoyed her books that I've read. So yeah, this book basically follows this girl who moves, I guess, to like this town and it's again like a neighbor's romance, like she falls for her neighbor, and I think there's like a little bit of an age gap between them. And this one again also has the single parent trope, but I've heard really great things about it, so I'm still looking forward to reading it. So the last book on my list is From Look Up With Love, which is also by Mariana Zapata, and this is another book that I'm for sure prioritizing. I know I want to read it really soon. I'm planning to hopefully read it in January, but if not, then February for sure. I just know I need to get to this book soon. I know I'm gonna love it. I hear amazing things about it. This is another one that people say is like their favorite Mariana Zapata book, so I cannot wait for this one. This one's probably the one I'm most excited for besides the Addicted and Calloway Sister series. So those were 22 books that are on my physical TBR that I am planning to read in 2022. But that's it for this video. If you liked this and want to see more, please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.